Hi everybody, it's John back with another model inbox review. Probably won't need to introduce this aircraft, although I might need to introduce the variant and the type of aircraft that it is. It is actually a Northrop F5, and it's an F5E variant of the Tiger II. The image you're looking at here is actually one of the evaluation aircraft for the United States Air Force foreign. I can't remember what the program was called, but the USAF were looking for a cheap, lightweight, capable fighter to sell to foreign national countries instead of giving them the option of buying Soviet equipment. They wanted to have American equipment supplied to them, and a lot of Middle Eastern air forces and Far Eastern air forces opted for the F5E Tiger II, but also a lot of Western European nations opted for this aircraft too, in the form of Switzerland, and I think Spain bought a few as well. And the aircraft proved quite popular in the Western European air forces as well as a cheap sort of capable point defence fighter, if you like. And the F5E proved very, very popular on the uh, export market. But one thing that's very interesting that a lot of people don't realise is that the United States Air Force never used this aircraft as a frontline point defence fighter with their home guard or their air force nationally. They only ever used the F5E Tiger II as an evaluation aircraft for this particular foreign national program. It was like a program to arm the world's air forces around the world with American equipment, and they also obviously sold it to the U.S. Air Force's Red Flag adversary flights, and also the Marine Corps and the Navy also bought the aircraft as aircraft to fulfil the aggressor squadron role in their Top Gun program schools as well. And I will be mentioning this again in the Gumph when I read up the Gumph about the aircraft itself. But that's the F5E Tiger II. The kit we're actually doing an inbox review on today is probably, I'm not saying it's the worst, but actually, I think it probably is the worst F5E Tiger II on the market, and that's this kit. The Northrop F5E Tiger II option from Starfix is it's probably one of the kits that you would only ever buy because it was purchased for as little as maybe £1 or even $1. The kit is incredibly bad news. Its rendering and overall reproduction of an F5E is really poor. And one of the reasons why I wanted to do this review and do this build is just to see what you could do with this kit if you put a bit of time and effort in, and is it really worth it? Because the pro builders think that most Starfix kits just aren't worth the effort, all the money you pay for, all the accessories used to put them together. They are really, really terrible. So Starfix is actually a company from Israel. They've been going for a number of years now. Some of their models are repops of Aurora kits, and they are marketed as 1/48 scale, but they're actually not. They're 1/55 scale, namely the Spitfire and the Messerschmitt models that are on the open market. But they do some other 72nd scale and some odd scale kits as well, which I wouldn't say they're worthy of note, but they might be worth a squint, one or two of them. But they are a bit of a laugh, and also I think they would make quite good paint mules because you can buy them so cheaply. The Starfix Northrop F5E Tiger II boxing history started with this release. Now, I haven't actually got an actual date of release because it's a bit unsure, and even Scalemates don't know the exact date of release of this kit. But they do know that it was released in around about the early to mid 70s. And this was the original release for the model. And the model that I've actually got a copy of is this one, which was the 1990s release of the 72nd scale Northrop F5E Tiger II. Starfix only actually build a single seat variant of this, but they also build a T-38 Talon. And in my opinion, the F5E and the Talon kits are probably some of their better options to look for in their range if you really do desperately want to have a bash at one of these kits. So that's the 1990s offering from Starfix. I'll leave you with a lovely image here of, this is the prototype F5E Tiger II, which was utilised for the evaluation programme, for the programme to rearm the world's air forces, third world air forces who couldn't afford things like Phantoms and even FA-18 Hornets. And they wanted something a little bit better than their run-of-the-mill Sabres, and maybe, that's basically the aircraft they were geared at to looking for replacing, is maybe the Sabre jet, maybe Meteors and Vampires if they still operated them, some MiG-21, early generation MiG-21s, and even the F-5A and B Freedom Fighters. These aircraft were an upgrade and development from the Freedom Fighter, obviously. Now, sorry about the camera stand, but I'm going to be as quickly as I can with this. I'm just going to bring the camera down very quickly to show you the kit in question. This is the Starfix Northrop F5E Tiger II. The box is a bit beat up, but the kit inside is perfectly alright. I mean, when you're building models, generally the models inside the boxes are generally okay. And we'll start off with the instruction leaflet. I'll show you something to do with the instruction leaflet that comes on the back of the box as well in a minute, and I'll show you that in the correct order. But basically the instruction leaflet on all Starfix kits is basically one of these. It's an A4 sheet of paper. Not much to write home about. There's an image of the model made up on the front cover. It's a little bit like Revell sort of format, isn't it? With the Starfix logo at the top and the gen at the top, and there's some gumph and information and stats on the aircraft there as well, and that's in different languages. There's 4 different languages there, which is quite nice. And then you turn the instruction leaflet over to reveal the actual method of construction, and this is quite funny. The kit builds up in 4 stages if you include the paint plan. There aren't many parts to this kit, but the actual stages appear to be quite busy. In section 1, you've got the fuselage and airframe assembly, which also includes the air intakes and the pilot seat and pitot tube that goes in the nose. The wing and tailplane on this kit are one-piece parts, but that's not really an issue because most aircraft, most F5s are actually constructed in this manner from most other companies as well. But the interesting bit about the fact here is it says here, important paint parts, numbers 1, 2, 5 and 6 must be painted prior to assembly. See colour guide. And I'll show you the colour guide in a minute, and I'll mention this in a minute. Yeah, that's interesting. But basically they're telling you to paint those parts before you assemble this section together. Also, you will need a little bit of weight in the nose, above the nose wheel bay there. I would suggest maybe 1 piece of lead shot, or around about maybe 8 to 10 grams of plasticine, something like that. Section 2, you're basically fitting the undercarriage and the jet pipes into place, and all the undercarriage doors. Not an awful lot there that you can misunderstand. It's all quite self-explanatory. And then in section 3, you're basically putting all the armament fits on the pylons and the cockpit canopy. There are 2 Sidewinder missiles, 1 on each wingtip as well, with the wingtip rails as well. They're all there as 2. It's not a bad armament fit for this kit actually, as far as the models go. It's not a bad armament fit. To make up the instruction leaflet, you have to include the paint plan, which is on the back. And it says marking and painting guide, instructions de decoration, which are obviously all the different languages and everything. But it did say refer to the paint plan, but I don't really understand what they're asking you to refer to the paint plan for. Maybe it's just the colours utilised on the airframe, but there's no details of what colours to paint the pilot seat, the interior of the aircraft, anything. And I've looked on this box and there's nothing on the box anywhere either. It's quite interesting also that they've got an image here of a USAF Tiger II, and I'll talk about that in a minute. I have mentioned the fact that the USAF never used this aircraft operationally, but it was utilised by the USAF as part of this Arming the World's programme. But FA335, I think you'll find is a fictitious aircraft. I don't think it actually existed in the US Air Force, but I think it might have been planned to buy F5Es as replacements for the F5A and Bs. But the USAF only ever used these aircraft as aggressor and adversary roles. The Decals, now I've never built a Starfix kit before, so I don't know what these decals are like. I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll take this decal sheet out of the bag so that you can have a look at it. I don't know how these are going to apply, and I'll be honest with you, they look like stickers to me. These, I don't think these are decals. I think these are stickers. This is the actual sheet, and on the back these transfers have a sort of an adhesive glue on the back, and I think what you're supposed to do is rub these onto the side of the airframe. That's going to be interesting. I've never done that before. Prepare myself to see if they will or won't work. That will be quite interesting. But it does say introduced for 5 minutes the decorating label into water. After its wetting, press the less glossy part of the image you want to stick on the place of the toy indicated in the drawing, and there it is written, the instructions there for the decal sheet. So these are water slide decals. I've just never quite seen decals like that before. Interesting. I think they'll peel off from the back, so that'll be interesting, won't it? Anyway, the parts. I have got these parts out of the bag because I wanted to see what this Starfix kit looked like. And it's an interesting kit. I'm going to tell you it is an interesting kit. Right then. I'm not going to go pedantic through the parts because I don't think they're worth to go pedantic through the parts, but I'm going to show you a few bits and bobs. The cockpit canopy itself, it's not great, is it? It's not particularly clear. The cockpit frame for the canopy isn't particularly pronounced either. It will paint up, but I wouldn't say that cockpit part is brilliant. I would say it's just adequate. It's okay, it's satisfactory. You've got the pilot seat here, not much to write home about there. It's just an ordinary pilot seat. And that looks like an air brake cover. Again, there's not much to write home about there. This sprue here covers all the armaments fit and everything, and as you can see, the actual armament parts themselves, they don't appear to be that bad. You know, they could have been worse. I've seen worse. I'm building a Chinese F-14 and the armament on that is interesting, which we'll get to in a minute. Well, we'll get to it in a future video anyway. The second sprue, and this is really what really made me laugh about this model. I'll just hide this part first because I'll show you that in a minute. You've got the one-piece wing here. There are no panel lines on this wing at all, and the plastic is pretty, well, I would say it's rugged. That's probably a pretty good way of describing the plastic on this kit. Tailplane is one piece. There are a few panel lines on the tailplane, but there's not a lot going on with the wings. And the wings do look a bit waxy, don't they? They do look a little bit, yeah, like they could have been a little bit more crisper in the way they've been reproduced and rendered. It's a shame. Nose wheel there, that doesn't look fantastic either. It looks a bit, well, it's alright. It's not brilliant. Jet pipes, they're not brilliant either. The doors, the air intakes, the splitter plates there, they're all there. And yeah, they're all the right shape, but they're not fantastic looking parts, I'll be honest with you. They're not brilliant. Detail on the main undercarriage wheels there, that's surprising because that's not actually that bad, is it? Detail on those main undercarriage wheels is okay. And then we get to the pilot, and this is where I started laughing because I've seen this guy before. He looks like an Airfix pilot from the 1960s. He's so much like an Airfix pilot, I think they've copied him. Very, very interesting. It looks like a pilot that's come out of, say, their early generation F6 Hunter, that type of guy, or maybe some of the helicopter pilots that they had in the 60s as well. But he looks like an Airfix pilot. It's definitely a copy of an Airfix pilot. So I'm quite pleased about that because I quite like those guys. The pitot tube is on this sprue, and also the armament rails. Not much to write home about there. And then you get the fuselage halves themselves as well. And as you can see with the fuselage half, there's a few raised panel lines popping around here and there. And I don't really think they're going to need sanding down because they're not that. Well, I don't know, they might need. The tailplane one there looks a bit severe, doesn't it? They might need a little bit of sanding down maybe. So it'll be interesting to see what the fit looks like on this kit, but the parts, as far as I'm concerned, the parts are pretty run-of-the-mill and they're not much to write home about, but I think the kit probably will fit together, but again, the jury's out on that one as well. So what we'll do, I'll just put all these parts back into the bag because I don't want to lose them. And then I can give you the gump on this kit, and the options and costs are quite interesting as well for the F5E Tiger II. And I'll explain what the options and costs cover when I read out the information on the kit. So basically, I just want to put all this stuff back in. So I don't want to bore you with, I just don't want to lose anything. I don't want to find something missing later on down the line, because I think getting spare parts for these kits is a nightmare. But yeah. Right, decals packed away, that's all packed away. Let's pop this. Box is a bit battered and beaten up, isn't it? I'll just pack all this away into here, and I'll leave you with the image of the box with the paint plan on the back of the box. And that's an interesting situation as well. That's the paint plan. Can I pop that up there like that? Yeah, probably can't I? There we go. So, the kit we're doing an inbox review on today is a Starfix Northrop F5E Tiger II. The kit's release date is early to mid 1970s, and the kit is released on a serial number of 709/04, and it's moulded in 1/72 scale. Now, there are decals for one United States Air Force service fighter, but it is, and I must stress, this is a fictitious Tiger II in USAF service. The F5E was only used as an adversary aircraft in the United States Air Force, forming part of their training units at Nellis Air Force Base in the Red Flag Training School, and some were also procured by the US Navy and the Marine Corps as adversary aircraft in their Top Gear Training School. The dimensions of the kit are about 7.5 inches long by 4.25 inches span, and it should sit about 2 inches high on its undercarriage. There are 45 parts on 4 silver grey plastic sprues and 1 clear part, producing 46 parts in total. The options and costs are quite interesting. F5s are available in 1/120th scale, 144th, 1/80th, 1/75th, as well as 1/72nd, 1/50th, 1/48th, 1/32nd, and they also do a range of egg scale kits from various manufacturers. But the options and costs that I'm covering with this review only cover the F5 fighters and the 2-seat T-38 Talon trainers in 1/72nd scale only. Now, Academy Minicraft do an F5A Freedom Fighter, which retails for about £7 to £12. Airfix's early tooling of the F5A Freedom Fighter, you can buy that for anything from about £3 to £15. Although be careful with this kit, because I have seen it sell in old packaging for as much as 30 quid, and it's actually sold for that too. Airfix also retooled, or rather produced a new tooling of an F5E Tiger II and an RF5E Tiger Eye. These kits were released in about the early 1980s, and I've seen that kit sell for as little as £1 to up to about £25. Eastside did quite a nice F5A and B 2-seat Freedom Fighter, and also a Canadian CF-116. That kit retails for about £10 to £15. And there's a company called Fader Zeta who did an F5E Tiger 2. I've got no pricings available on that, but it's probably going to sell for about the same price as the Hasegawa kit. Hasegawa produced an F5A and a CF-116 Freedom Fighter for about £18, and they also produce a Northrop T-38 Talon for about £5 to £12. Hobby Boss do quite a nice F5E Tiger 2 for about £5 to £6, and Italeri do an F5E, an F5F two-seat Tiger 2 and an F5N Tiger 2, all in separate boxings, I believe, for about £8 to £10. There's a company called Kiddieland Models who produce an F5E Tiger 2. I've got no pricings available on those, but those kits don't look to be that good either. Matchbox did a range of F5A and two-seat F5B Freedom Fighters, and also they did an option for a CF-116 Freedom Fighter for the Canadian Air Force, and those kits retail for anything from £2 to £20. Nitto also did an F5 Freedom Fighter, no pricings available on that. And Pioneer 2 did an F5A and a two-seat F5B Freedom Fighter, as well as an NF5A Freedom Fighter. The NF5A is the Turkish Air Force's national display team, and those kits retail for anything from £5 to £20. Pioneer 2 also did a Northrop T-38 Talon for about £5 to £20. Starfix's F5E Tiger 2 is about £2.50 to £15, and also they did a Northrop T-38 Talon for about £2.50 to £15. Sword produce a Northrop T-38 Talon, no pricings available on that, but I have seen it in the past sell for about 20 quid. Trumpeter did an F5E Tiger 2 and also a Tiger 2000, no pricings available on that. And ZTS Plastic did an F5E Tiger 2, again no pricings on that. Now some of these kits have been reboxed by other companies, and some of the other companies I was quite surprised about. There's a company called Fox One Design Studio who did an F5E Tiger 2, which is a reboxed Hobby Boss kit. Sorry, I've got no pricings available on that. Frog did an F5A Freedom Fighter, which is a reboxed Hasegawa kit for £6.50. Heller did an F5E Tiger 2, which is the reboxed 80s tooling of the F5E Tiger 2 from Airfix, for about £6 to £15. And MPC did an F5A Freedom Fighter, which is the reboxed early generation Airfix kit, for about £5 to £19. They also produced the F5E Tiger 2 from MPC, which is the reboxed 80s tooling Tiger 2 from Airfix, and that kit retails for about £6 to £18. Italeri did an F5A and two-seat B Freedom Fighter, which is the reboxed Esai kit, for about £8 to £10. And Mini Hobby Models did an F5E Tiger 2 and a Tiger 2000, which are reboxed Trumpeter kits. Again, I've got no pricings on those. PM Models did an F5A and a two-seat B and an F5A Freedom Fighter reboxed Pioneer 2 kits for about £5 to £20, and they also did a Northrop T-38 Talon from PM Models, which is the reboxed Pioneer 2 kit again, for about £5 to £20. Revell released the F5A and two-seat B Freedom Fighters, which are reboxed Esai kits, for about £18. And Revell did an F5E Tiger 2, which is a reboxed Italeri kit, for about £13. Tamiya released the Italeri kit of the F5E Tiger 2, that retails for about £17. And Testers also did a rebox of the F5E Tiger 2 from Italeri, no pricings available on that. And there's a company called Wolfpack who did an F5A Tiger 2 and an RF5A Tiger Eye, which are reboxed Esai kits. Again, no pricings available on that. Conclusions. Now, this is going to be interesting. What do you say about this kit from Starfix? Well, Starfix have a reputation for making kits that are not worth the time and effort, or, for that matter, the glue and paint used to build them. The plastic looks terrible. The canopy is also really only satisfactory, and the overall quality of the kit is deeply in question. But I will try my best to do a good job, and it will be interesting to see what the final reveal will show. They do, however, do a couple of kits in their range apart from the F5E Tiger 2 that may well be worth a squint, but only a squint, mind you. The Mitsubishi A6M20, Although it has accuracy issues, it's one of their better options, and they also do a Lockheed C5A Galaxy. I believe that's in 1/288 scale, and these, in my opinion, are the best of their entire range, but I must be honest with you, you would do well to avoid their entire range like the Plague. Models worthy of note are the Atalieri kit, which has some accuracy issues in its nose cone and also has raised panel lines, but the Hobby Boss kit is a newer tooling with quite nice detail and recessed panel lines, but for me it does still look a little bit heavy set. Both these kits are favoured by the pro builders and reviewers, but apart from the Starfix kit, the Pioneer 2 and PM model offerings are not the best either and should be avoided as well. Now, I hope this video has been of some use. I hope I've brought to your attention some of the failings from this company, Starfix. And if you do find any, if they're more than $2 or $3 or maybe £2 or £3, I don't personally think they're worth buying, unless you want a tool for paint to use for airbrushing techniques and whatnot. If you want a mule for that, they're ideal. I hope this video has been of some use. I hope all your modelling projects are going really good and well and smooth. If you've got any questions or queries or any comments, just pop them in the comments slip under the description, and I'll get back to you as quickly as possible. Thanks for tuning in, and I'll see you for the next video. Bye bye for now, lads.